For some people, it's honoring a family member, it's honoring someone that they are close to, that they work with, someone in the community who is a shining light, who gives back in ways that are just amazing.
What I love about the Rotary pin and a Paul Harris Fellow pin is that when you meet somebody that you don't already know and they're wearing that pin, you instantly have a bond.
A Paul Harris Fellow often recognizes an individual who would meet the standards of Paul Harris. He's the founder of Rotary International.
Anyone giving the donation to the Rotary Foundation can make that naming opportunity. If they don't name themselves, they can name someone else. And if they name someone else, they can honor them with that gift.
Part of the process of naming a Paul Harris Fellow, you have to donate a minimum of $1,000. And that started in 1957.
The money goes to the Rotary Foundation, and the Rotary Foundation provides grants that do good worldwide and locally, so many things. For instance, the eradication of polio and other diseases, the elimination of poverty, helping women and children, providing education, providing clean water resources. So many areas are served, including promoting peace worldwide.
That pin is a symbol.
A very deep appreciation.
Making the world a better place.
3 words, which is the Rotary motto since its inception, service above self.
And when they're wearing that Paul Harris Fellow pin, you know that they are extra special people.
By naming a Paul Harris Fellow, a Rotarian pays a good deed forward. And that good deed grows exponentially as donated monies fund the valuable projects done by Rotary clubs throughout the world.
In 1988, Rotary International took on the challenge of eradicating the polio virus from the face of this earth. Thanks in part to the donations made to the Paul Harris Fellowship Program, we are this close to achieving that goal.
When it came time for me to name a Paul Harris Fellow, it was a no-brainer. I chose my husband.
Oh, I was honored, especially once I understood what Paul Harris was about. And I also understood why she was recognizing me. One is I'm a Rotary spouse, so there are certain duties that come with that, trailing her to Rotary events. The second part of that was her recognition of what I do with Big Brothers Big Sisters. So to have that kind of recognition from Terry through a world-class organization like Rotary was especially honorable.
Well, I chose to honor Frank because he's been a longtime friend and he helped me out so much over the last few years, especially the years before my mom passed. He didn't expect it, he didn't ask for it, and he's not the kind of guy that wants to take any kind of praise. He didn't know he was going to get it that night, and I had him there on a pretense that I was going to get Rotarian of the Year or something, and then got up there and called him up to the podium, and he was just blown away.
I've given out several Paul Harris Fellows, and I gave my children and my grandchildren all Paul Harris. I admire Sasha's mother. She does a lot for the club, and Sasha always seemed to be wanting to be part of it. So she's our future, and I thought I'd honor her.
We worked on the 4th of July. We also lighted the cross, and we also did a bike build. It makes me very happy to know that somebody is happy getting something that some people they can't get because they can't afford it.
I was shocked and honored that the Rotary Club has embraced Sasha into the family and recognized her at such a young age. Was like, there's no words.
My late husband, Dr. Otto Estelle, was a past president of our Rotary Club, district governor of Rotary District 5240. Otto used his medical skills in his work as a Rotarian to improve quality of life for some of the poorest of poor people in the world. At the time of his celebration of life, it was determined that we were able to present or name 9 Paul Harrises. What better way to share his generous spirit by naming each of our 9 grandchildren a Paul Harris Fellow. I know that Otto would be very proud to know that his 9 grandchildren were included in his legacy of service above self.
I gave my first Paul Harris Award to fellow Rotarian Rocky Rhodes. He donated his kidney to my husband. When somebody does something of that magnitude, it's just impossible to thank them enough, and to be able to award him with the Paul Harris made it an absolute delight for me. I'll always remember it.
My father-in-law, Dr. Elvin Gaines, gave me my first Paul Harris.
The Rotary Club of Simi Valley gave me my first Paul Harris.
My first Paul Harris was given to me by the Richfield, Connecticut Rotary Club.
Otto Estelle gave me my first Paul Harris.
My mother, Mary Swank, gave me my first Paul Harris.
Becky Savelle gave me my first Paul Harris.
My father gave me my first Paul Harris Fellow.
My father gave me my first Paul Harris Fellow about 20 years ago, I guess.
When Dr. Kurhar gave me my first Paul Harris Fellow, I felt honored because I had given so many to other people before, and this was the first time that I was being recognized, and that really made me feel very special.
You know, you don't do this for the recognition, but the recognition, it's like that validation that I made an impact.
Well, she said it was because I never say no, and I always step up and do whatever I'm asked.
It made me feel very humble. It made me work harder that year, next year.
I was surprised, I was honored, it made me cry, and I just felt like I was an official Rotarian at that point.
It was a great honor.
Astounded. I was not expecting that, but it was great.
Very overwhelming, very shocked, just amazing to me to get that kind of honor.
It's the highest honor you can get in Rotary, and I was very proud to be part of that elite group.
What I love about the Paul Harris Fellow Program is that it takes the honor and recognition earned by a Rotarian and turns that into honoring a person in their lives who they believe is making a positive difference in the world. So that means that Paul Harris Fellows are people whose daily lives reflect the Rotary ideal of service above self. Rotary International is changing the world one Paul Harris Fellow at a time.